be monitored for 25 years under this agreement. So they have very extensive provisions in this agreement for monitoring. We also have our own capabilities, which are robust without getting into classified information. So we do a lot of this without, counting on anything in the agreement. We have our own extraordinary intelligence methods, right? Let me just put it that way. And so the question is do you feel confident, one, that their intentions are to comply with this, which is the best verification, right? So the best intelligence we do is getting inside the communications in the Iranian regime to know what the heck they want to do. If what they want to do is live under this, then everything else you're a little less worried about, right? If what they want to do is tell us they're going to live under it and do something else, then you either got to catch them or you got to not go down this road in the first place. And so that's where the rubber meets the road on this thing. I do think nobody thinks we ought to trust them. Nobody thinks we can just take their word for it. The question is whether, with fissile material, it's a little different than some of the stuff we dealt with in Iraq back in the 90s, for example. With fissile material, you have an extraordinary ability if you can get in there to detect it, even if they've tried to clean up the site. And so people worry about how long it'll take us to get into a site we want to see. If you're talking about fissile material, it's actually extraordinary what we can do. If, on the other hand, you're talking about making a ballistic missile, metallurgy to develop the triggering mechanisms that will allow them to use enriched uranium in a weapon, that's harder to detect. So there's a lot of complexity in here. This is why I've spent a lot of time on it. I do think it's one of the most important issues I've faced in Congress, and I really want to get it right. And so what I think I owe all of you is, as the guy who has access to more information and whose job it is to know this stuff, is to really look at it hard before making a decision. But we all agree on the fundamental principle, which is they shouldn't have a weapon.
So
and
you want to keep on monitoring yourself too, right?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
It's my job. I get paid to do this by all of you. All right, I got to run, but thank you all very much. Yes.
Something we did not discuss in this whole time are our veterans.
Oh, sure.
I want to know how much support we're getting because there are veterans that have been wounded.
Yep.
I'm just so into that, having two war veterans in my family, my father and my brother. And it's important to me to know that we're working still on them because they're
well, thank you for saying that. Well, I can tell you there's no area that we have spent more time working on than supporting our veterans. We just don't do any other area where we do as much work. So this gentleman right here does these issues in my office. This gentleman is a veteran of the war in Afghanistan. Served honorably there and works with another individual named Oscar. Done them in my office, and they do this full time. They have done in about 2.5 years. North of, 800 cases for individual vets who returned millions of dollars to those veterans that they were owed and weren't getting. Things like disability claims, things like that have taken way too long. Things like access to care in a VA. So we are working on this. We do a lot of other things for our vets too. We do medal presentations and ceremonies that are overdue. We're doing one tomorrow, as a matter of fact, for a World War II vet who's 92 years old. My dad was a disabled Navy veteran. We just lost him a few months ago. I care about this stuff a lot, so I want you to know we're working on it.
Good.
We do a lot of good work on this.
They're the reason
we
why
can't do
we're
enough,
still
right?
free.
Amen.
I want everybody to know that.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry we had to move several times. We finally got it right.
Oh, you keep it active. Oh, my word. Oh, gosh, yeah.